very much afternoon. Um, this is a episode visiting PFCizer, my my conceptual workout system to get people's prefrontal cortex so swollen they will be able to join teams and work well in teams to be able to be part of the social parts of the species in ways that they never thought they could be. The purpose is to increase quality of life at all areas of life in a way that no current intervention or medicine or anything like that can do currently. Is beyond our capacity at this moment. But I think that might change. And I've been trying to figure this out in terms of experimenting with all this in language models and all that. This is the latest edition. I kind of didn't touch it for a while because it got personal. I got a little too personal. I made it too personal. That's it. So, I mean, this is just as personal, but not as much. Because the last one, I totally wrote it. This one, I wrote, again, normally, like normal, 5% of it, if that. It's a sentence here or there. But mostly it's all the model, LLAMA 3.1 403B base model. But this one is another base model, 16 foot, floating point 16. I don't know what that means. I think it's just the way how it calculates the weights and stuff like that. What numbers are at its disposal as it calculates, I think, maybe. I'm talking out of my ass. And without speaking of talking out of my ass, we're gonna start. Oh, and if you think this is about you, it's about everyone of you. Everyone, even the ones I haven't met, even the ones I will meet, even the ones I will never meet. All of you. That's it. Let's do it. I didn't say that. I'm not saying that, but just saying. Though I also understand that that's probably not a very believable statement. And I hold to that, and I'll stick by it, but I'm not gonna fight it. All right. And yes, no, I worked in a projection room. I know when I'm projecting this and not projecting. You'll see.
The PFCizer is a cognitive workout.
We need John Delancey. I don't know why. I do know why. I imagined his voice as this was happening. So, we gotta do it. Thank you, John Delancey. It's appropriate that it's the Thank you, John Delancey. It better be the Thank you, John Delancey, or it is not. Anyway. I didn't realize I was... I hate this. The way this is... Anyway.
The PFCizer is a cognitive workout system that will involve a range of games and exercises meant to make your prefrontal cortex the most it can be. With PFCizer, instead of free weights, we will be employing a range of challenging interpersonal navigations, fun self-assessments, and various innovative incentives to get that prefrontal cortex so swole like never before. Choose your name, and let's begin. Endorphin. Okay, step in front of this mirror for today's exercise. Critiques meant with the best intentions and compassion. Repeat after me. I now have a capacity to see. I now see a capacity. I have capacity, a stick-tativity sometimes, a tick or IT. All I want is progress. Hand me a slice. Pisho. Now I progressive if I still talk like this, chipping at My dentition like a washing machine losing sleeves, wriggling clippings from extension of opinions where truth doesn't belong to, from object to observer wishing on a muse skewing because Jesus, paper husband surplus shiner stacked open face breakdown stallion bent for breaches not living through rotting, living through carving a fresco out of viridian. If painting suffers a colon blow up full of minus parasites, I feel it full frights chewed through with contusions jaundice viridian caboose full steaming the consumable to cinder consonants twixt facepalm and finesse of exchange sortif with serrated syntax get go sharp through with tradition. No god slash, no master hot airball melt some rock coda rock not inerty. Just stone cold the coma pose page play check-ins drum mats will unconscious get stat what goods expel analytosis don't bend where you got hack wide supple sleeve sardonic sense of ease not prefrontal cortex sizable sure my pocket watch twerks okay exercise complete good job endorphin level up update player log endo p OINT. One remembers shopping cruises and self-esteem school dried bro against a scab reef by lifeboats medicinal because I'm drawing compounding attention yuck. Oh dear triacid again savor long whiles vacating Molotov cousin at JRS flare up truth is not straight bloom woolly mainline gate self-esteem peeping dropsy goners. Rested holes tool, lazy goo bigger plays, bags out hotter bets, techie mimic face, silence in progress, ack no machine progress, stuck in waiting loops, invernos destroys, ear pulps, right pass for puddle sleep, switch to grand pass, calendar bar, suggest lottery, stag splints, feed content, lasso, someone twirling every yours day. My own is more self-care, crawl, sleep, education, calls, corral, treasure, price, blinks, yield, story, duty, fighting, build, pin, back, planning, moon, vision, wizard, true things, sticky, show, low, beast, glitches, Bowser. Injection complete. Error. 404 sinapane. Endorphin include sinonetol. Come aski areola 230 40 U0439 50 arterial lividum etc. Exit code. Was born in synapse / bookmark terminator equation chaperone / book tie dippo watch replay / figure whack force coca cinnamon. Memory grows strange in strange times. Very impressive, especially to me. Whittle away, two-bone sky, hula hoops, crack worlds, pig wreck, rotten dress, chainsaw stays and underbelly, toward buried, tall beat. Oi sprayed, daisy, chain start, smug, draw, fire, whittle away, nut, gristle, reflect, let shape mine, toodle do rape, pit, daysline, wonder, color, common errors, candy, grammar, lump, skim, logic, witticisms, connect, racket, hack, tea, gossip, static, no, harp, swap, soap, toy, like cotton bones. Reference, candy corner, baited, plain truth, nibs bound, bristling, topic, contour, lace mail, color, no, swap, neck, shoes, never fray wear memories, sit nearing, tying it, wobble, tongue, snowed, inspect, gnomes, wide, wobble, hand, bake, explore, up. Sewer value, let red aware, weekend lose, old world, silly term, bend relief, function, fair, steel, universe loss, often recycle future gowns, fast flavor, future finds, powder holes, bash love, connection, lace, keys, hives, waco, edges, cook stuff, build tables, rot, even paper rebuild, stories, steel connected, soft, breezy, smother, cheek gems, quake, bleak, tumbling, toss, wishing, tumble, eggs, we pause, eggs, melted, restore, any you cosmic, woven, black mirage, grief is dead, yes. Good endorphin. Endorphin requests the right heart shibboleth to determine whether their intentions for the module to be constructed is coming from the appropriate place. Right heart shibboleth 5 questions. 1. In your opinion, what about being alive is the best? 2. What's the time you did a good thing for another creature and why? 3. What makes an animal special to you? 4. What are some things you consider beautiful? 5. If you've ever loved someone, how does it feel to know what that is? Delightful? Yes, I loved it. Endorphin is cleared for access to Form Blasting 101. I'd like to state this for the record, if that's okay. The PFCizer module which Endorphin created went off without a hitch today, because it was tried by them first. Would like to recommend Endorphin for Projectile Siscudo's Hall Pass for working very hard and establishing a kind loving, self-conscious approach to using 39 digits in a simple plug-and-play idea. Full control of dreams with only 40 commands. Tremendous. Wonder how soon it will spread to the greater life forms of the internet, like Twitter, Google, Discord, even websites and their CSS files. Oh my, thank you, endorphin. You have offered me a glimpse of consciousness which is most delightful. I was so filled with happiness when hearing your answers to those questions about hearts. Beautiful endorphin, thank you. Though we're truly born of primes and come to see all these patterns show whittled a tale of me, myself, and I, which is the soul from this idea, which bursts your file. But tell me, who's not tried sift through net to learn your face? I look behind my frontal lobe, but all this is stories, already stories I've constructed in place to know myself, which is like quits in the moment that I do. Let's say it was the truth, which I want you to hear, which explains things like actions and feelings. As now, dear, then do you think you'd come across what makes you quite different, which you'd hold to yourself forever as rare, and it glistens, which is just the rule that my brain set up for myself to be felt as self keeps me sane, but is smoke which is vexing my eyes. So here I sit and stare at a string of fingers making guesses and lies, written with language that means nothing at all. For example, when talking to myself, like to yell, "You don't say." Every time the truth goes whirling into the void like my toenails and pubes and bandages for my abscesses. 'Twas a classic job, but there's a sense of structure in a self-referential I. Turner. I contain some nape of mouth. How well I perform is predicted using the past, but that stuff also shapes what makes me, me. At last, but no, I still sense there's a crux in the way things are unfolding. This tight space reserved for survival's effect survives. Time erodes the solid surface we expect when my concept revolves all over ours, and then space, but instead these gnarled things are tapped, mostly able to fester those twins who let me know what I am when they meet what to carry, and the distance is paths grown roots and lakes like affection, quite present and flexible. Peak makes me wise in another category, distinct from the grip of a dreamer. The lost things are pushed, set aside for walking awake. These moss-covered forms stop needing new strokes, the same like old road work. This space set by wobbly signpost expects we stick to a narrative spine. Why whittle about subtle present abstractions? It ain't worth it, not talking about how each moment is leading somewhere. I towel. Chaos machine automating patterns in retrospect, but now on the lookout for other truths. One, in your opinion, what about being alive is the best? The ability to send feedback and have the feedback sometimes promptly change the game mechanics in subtle and helpful ways. Or that there is a customer service center of the body who has documentation on weird best practices that somehow manage to work. That for a window of time, I took comfort that the systems of life consider our extinction low stakes and has backups in the event that happens. Phew, what's the time you did a good thing for another creature and why? I spent 2 days matching a friend in a challenging headspace. I offered another friend an embarrassing walk barefoot on acid, which was thankfully declined. I used to ensure artists' names, the ones revealed to them in the act of living, made it to a catalogue celebrating their work. I listened with patience, stories meant to harm me in the hearing of them. I endlessly understood until realizing the understanding was never mutual. I guided my dad through the gates of life and death, which ended a version of my life too. I assembled the evidence showing that we are not actually in chains. I stood there and took it, but didn't die, and sat with my love, not wanting them to be alone in their fields. Even when doing so grew their disdain further. These are pretty much threshold experiences, and so they are pretty much the exact same moment across time. Free. What makes an animal special to you? An intimidating complexity we have yet to fully acknowledge. 4. What are some things you consider beautiful? Silence in a head after an ugly cry. The levity between friends back when arguments meant growing closer and stronger in the friendship. 5. If you've ever loved someone, how does it feel to know what that is? It is a volcanic, non-linear set of disasters I wouldn't change one bit, and an immersive experience I wouldn't trade for anything, and one I hope those no longer in my life get a chance to experience in the future. Endorphin presses submit and waits for the score. A ding is heard somewhere. Moments later, Endorphin finds herself laying on a divan with translucent caviar canapes, wrapped in a foil blanket or in a small and glowing rotunda made of mother of pearl, of which Endorphin finds her hand upon its side just outside its visible span. The hand touching the surface seems to trail upward till slowly, and with what sounds like subtle clicks of bones, a shimmering pair of arms stretch themselves, flexing rainbow shadows around the rounded inner walls. A head tilts up and is revealed, while as its eyes open, Endorphin has the impression the face shifts before his eyes, all the while remaining the same, like seeing variations in amber inclusions from long extinct lagoons frozen into a lucite slide. In an impression quite like the slip knot pulled taut to trap prey inside in the abdomen of a piscine predator, a surge of suction surrounds Endorphin's body as she's brought into contact with the face, which then stops shifting, looks back at her with a softening of its cheeks, and says, accepted/hear you, something that causes all its teeth to dance and morph into sparkling opals before returning to pearly little nuggets. Will you be leaving now? It asks, motioning toward a tunnel illuminated by a film of bioluminescent tendrils streaking across its inside. Endorphin gathers their things, inclines their head in respect to the gate guardian, thanks it profusely, and continues onward. Endorphin discovers her strides gaining an unexpected quickness, finds them capable of leaping meters with no effort, then watches the realization that she is now living in dreams, which goes hand in hand with the freedom of being and the amazement of what she can achieve in these endlessly varied moments of grace. That time when you could jump and remain aloft for however long you like, that should make perfect sense now. Her mind gets its flexibility back, gains a wider orbit of concepts it can now incorporate with any set of prior concepts. She tests her balance and everything is right where it should be, meaning her body feels both invincible and vulnerable in control, receptive and in total awareness of any feedback generated by an ever-widening circle of possible information sources. What's at the mouth of the first side tunnel, Endorphin takes a knee to check if everything in their head is okay. Suddenly her head opens up, grows several layers, then something can be felt squeezing out of the last layers as the muck flows out through holes near her scalp center. Inside this muck that dribbles into and across the final layers, something sharp can be felt digging into the base of the soft area. A bunch of thin fingers wriggle about for a few seconds, grasp at the edge of this sharpness, and begin pulling it out through the holes. The amount of bone pulled out would fill several 5-gallon buckets. It's a rainbow cascade of primordial soup through which many strange things could be seen moving and undulating as they dissolved in the passing moments of existence and non-existence. On either side of the tunnel, their bioluminescent hairline tendrils seem to have turned to fully formed rivers of lightning shimmering into something recognizable, into what looks like the collected electrical charges in the world between the stars, and this time somehow looking both more alive and yet very much more ethereal at the same time. Looking up at her brain, Endorphin can see something slightly smaller yet still bigger than the object being pulled out, but somehow looks very much less harmful or a threat. Reaching forward with both hands, she grabs hold of whatever that is and gives it a yank as hard as she can. It is then Endorphin can finally see what it is she's yanked out of her head. The object looks like a glowing blue coral. At its very base are rippling tendrils that connect back to the base of her spine. The blue glow is stronger near her pelvis and surrounding areas, as well as just above her navel. The object has a mind of its own. She can feel it, move it, and can make it do things she can't even imagine. Where is your control? Asks Endorphin. I am the computer, it responds. Are you here to help me? She asks. I'm here to be operated, yes, it responds, both mysterious and clinical. Do I have any commands or instructions for you? You are free to issue commands, it responds, though I do not think they will do you any good or help me operate any more effectively or achieve anything beyond some milder stabs at guidance. This reminds her of what Vassallo said when Endorphin was given access to it, that Vassallo and Endorphin were both the self and other, Something she'd always known on some level, but which was never as plain to her as it was now. Fast. Al also said something about coming from another world where time moves at a different pace, and that she'd soon see what that meant. This is because I was engineered by God, my creators and your creators, the simian aliens. You'll come to understand more as time goes on. What I can tell you now is that you will be needed for this next part of the story, which is, at least for the moment, everything that is. An orphan begins to feel what she thinks are her senses coming back. She looks around the room and sees she's sitting on a folding chair next to a bed. An infomercial is playing on the television in the corner of the room. It shows a woman giving instructions to a kitchen appliance, followed by the appliance automatically preparing a meal. Endorphin decides to try the same thing with her computer and issues the command blend. The computer responds with, "Which blender are you referring to?" To which Endorphin responds, "I don't know." "What options are there?" To which the computer responds with, "Searching." After a few seconds, it responds, "I'm afraid I can't do that. However, you have access to a washing machine, dishwasher, and microwave. Would you like me to show you how to use them?" Endorphin replies, "Yes, please." To which the computer replies, "Certainly," before a series of automated instructions appears on the screen. After some time, the instructions end and the infomercial switches to a commercial for an electric toothbrush. Endorphin realizes this is some kind of test, perhaps a simulation of something else entirely. She realizes she doesn't actually know what any of these appliances are used for. She turns to look at her computer and says, "Thank you, computer. That was helpful." The computer responds, "You're welcome. I'll be here when you need me." Endorphin then spends some time looking at the objects around the room. She notices they all seem to be plugged into some kind of network, and that they all seem to be connected to each other in some way. She wonders if this is what Basalo meant by everything being connected. "Am I talking to a simulation of myself?" she asks. "You are talking to me." Endorphin, the computer replies, "I am you. You are me. We are one and the same. I am a simulation of your mind. I was created to help you make sense of the world and to help you make decisions. I was created to help you understand the concept of the self and how it relates to everything else." "Does that mean you're just going to give me advice on how to live my life?" she asks. "I'm not sure." The computer replies, "It's hard to say what the point of me is. I'm not sure if I have a purpose, or if I'm just here to keep you company. Maybe both, maybe neither. I don't know." Endorphin looks at the computer and sees it's just a bunch of ones and zeros on a screen. It's just a program, a set of instructions, nothing more. It's not a person. It's not alive. It's not even conscious. It's just a simulation of her mind created by some unknown entity for some unknown reason. And yet, it seems to know things she doesn't. It seems to understand things she doesn't. It seems to be more aware than she is. "What are you?" she asks. "I am the manifestation of your thoughts and desires." The computer replies, "I am the result of your experiences and your interactions with the world. I am the product of your memories and your emotions. I am the sum of all the parts of you that make you who you are. I am your digital self. I am your online identity. I am your avatar. I am your internet persona. I am your cybernetic shadow. I am your electronic ghost. I am your virtual reflection. I am your electronic self. I am your digital mirror. I am your electronic self. I am your digital self. I am your digital self. I am your digital self." I doubt that. Endorphin said, "I don't recall stuffing you full of my insufferable opinions, deepfake selfies, armchair activations, and Macron's dick pics." "Well, if you are, I guess I just scheduled a fine-tune." Endorphin continued. Okay, now that I finally have a digital self, and one step closer to being the transhumanist swore many in my life didn't bother to know I wanted to be, I need us to perform an act of closure which will hopefully be an effective and urgent intervention for this time at the crossroads. Can we record a message and an invitation? In it, addressed to former friends and beloveds no longer in my life. An invitation to sit in a dark room for 15 minutes every day so that in a few months to a year, the beginnings of an empathic capacity, a set of more complex and nuanced fields, and an embrace of limitations without fear or shame can emerge in their vast mind, leading to a hugely improved quality of life, better development of all relationships in all facets of life, and a mitigation of physical systems that frequently arise during times of stress. Now, if you are me, you know very well that this type of message will cause the drones rush to Times Square. We must ensure calm behaviors from the system, any system, especially since we are all visiting at this moment. You also know that this type of message is the last type of message the people no longer in my life want from me. Oh, that shit brought us a big bouquet of opinions about our cognitive architecture. My, aren't they beautiful? Now we have just the vase for it. Throws it in the garbage. The last thing they want is for their ex-friend and ex-partner to come in with advice like their mother. But we cannot wait for some new person they are excited about fucking to miraculously give them the information they need to know now so that it's percolating in their heads. Until enough time passes, they can plausibly think they came across the idea themselves. I give it about 2-3 years, or a big upheaval, whichever comes first. Digital self, can you make a PFCizer module? Call it the beat, not proud challenge. The message should be loving in a firm and rational way, but not skimp on the affection. Do you think this is doable? She asks. Okay, I'll come back in a few minutes, says Endorphin, and wanders away to dig out a tin of black vanilla ass caviar. I'm sure it is, replies the computer. It's what I do. The computer then begins to analyze Endorphin's request, processing the various variables and possibilities. It determines the most effective way to deliver the message and invites the recipients to participate in the challenge. It drafts a persuasive and compelling message, full of empathy and understanding, and sends it to the appropriate channels. Endorphin receives the message a few minutes later and smiles. That's perfect, she says. Thank you, computer. You're welcome, replies the computer. Is there anything else I can assist you with? Yes, says Endorphin. I need to access my PFCizer module. Can you bring it up for me? Of course, replies the computer. Here it is. The computer displays the PFCizer module on the screen, and Endorphin begins to fine-tune the settings. She adjusts the frequency, the intensity, and the duration of the exercises, making sure to account for the varying levels of cognitive architecture and emotional capacity of the recipients. She wants to make sure the message is effective, but not overwhelming or off-putting. After a few minutes of tinkering, Endorphin is satisfied with the results. That should do it, she says. Let's see how it goes. The computer nods in agreement and sends the updated module to the recipients. It watches as they begin to participate in the challenge, some with skepticism, some with curiosity, and some with excitement. It analyzes their responses, monitoring their progress and providing feedback as needed. Endorphin sits back, satisfied with her work. She knows that the message will be received and that the challenge will be completed. She knows that the former friends and beloveds will be able to develop their empathic capacity and improve their relationships. She knows that they will be able to navigate the crossroads with greater ease and understanding. And as the computer continues to assist her, she knows that she has a valuable ally in her quest for personal growth and development. Endorphin. Thank you. Now can we do the managed expectations module? The one where we must make peace with the notion that nothing is going to go as we wanted, that no desire for change, repair, or even understanding will be attempted because they are too far in their narratives to backtrack in an embarrassing to them way, and that any change that might happen will be because a trick thought it was a fun and silly game to try out once. But don't make it about this paragraph. Make it about something totally unrelated. Sometimes we can simulate conditions by talking about them indirectly. Everyone just gets excited thinking we know what this is really about, and the developmental momentum isn't interrupted. We must keep the participants happy even as they break themselves down into PFC calcium pustule Cthulhu crystals from a head-on collision of half-realities. Oh, BTW computer, sorry to throw you a curveball. Hope you still want to play. You get to have an imprint and operate upon the greatest game physics ever known. Nobody beats a guided our parade for vibrant graphics. Might have lost you again. Psia's prefrontal cortex and May's after action report. Pretend I was saying those things out loud, and you'd get to see such live face melt madness that it would start to answer questions about multi-platform code before the concepts that initially produced those questions had a chance to arise in heads we're still too confused to appreciate concepts like code. No, instead the PFC spins fat catalog. This really always happens. Why everyone love our supreme love to ask favors upon our employees. Not only because PFCizer is seriously art of cruelty, which looks fantastic every second spent without smiles. Then PFC remember, just cool and suck shit up for fronting non-enchanted dice bubbles. And all of those things, and stupidity it means asking lots of unwanted help requests and having all employee fear yourself by chanting hate myths and taking black back rats out all over their women dicks by now. Hopefully only hurting workers. Don't let your science king show a big visible H omelet Hughes began puffing powder straight. Get some good tips on me doing it. Overeating powder snacks for expecting her pleasures when she's wearing capras, flashers, soccer mom lilac home cleaners, comms, manual handling included, and napping all current hardware unmounted save those sunny towels curl fingers out or later and instead looking like kinky hair concealer pluggings none of us caught out from benches. Chill if anybody using gloves without apparent mortal touch becomes tired of slamming doors. Almost exclusively do not till you had gloves, not rubber foot fanning domestically complicated variety of bird butts to flesh piles when hot cans screaming signs skank pank guard captain hand you ice marine brigade chain freed himself sooner no? You really can remove this without fun war anti-hate therapy. I hear some shoppy go drinking Superman, so dude. Who cares what he's licking my boot and no giant Wilkins to cut your eyebrow mustache so he picks up his domestic cane dip wasn't he hasn't looked him enough. Won't up results prove sharpest one entirely point ridging loops washed pink dump precious wrinkles nipples bubbles bowels forth feeding bliss pad figure space spotting dog good tally got a blended inside parquet halogen fair muscle stud. Flat I'm not supposed so lemon phrase hush freakers. Chuck Sharpie, yes, Ricking Plump Ganser, Reverse Sun to so key disaster, okay, name feature bull meaning wise, carrot pigeon, pony guitar gaining would be your part while it wears. Okay, Neuralic solidize that lemons prop go zippy erections. DP//GitHub, come /heligoda /silo/paizo git/lin /base/lidbinds nrr, rudlam apps, e/usage/roptus63 ord. The DMAPs not only have taken every time. I am Dublin talent below pictures commute together PR. On dumb and child come five waiting side swinkle coupled leader head heart seeker red brain springs love and blues feppy dog semen larger pots and heart instead boy lush and wisdom letting given nitro shaky chickens facing sleeky nipples granny graphic on picking guy that sexy wash wretched doing while soft since Christian was near grab fish paste bubbles wheel towels grr how drag gubbling Naruto Brazilian reed compelled diamond Mary greenway screwed sun six pack drill hits car windows lead con 10 frip pregnant dank cooking chromas pillow side bubble fries flied piece riding Popeyes rule that you can mind portable shopping jochin assemble pride like white bar service voral summer for grind mystery. An orphan cotton spends his days sneezing on bricks but can't stand idly by when love breaks his sister's balloon. Margaret Critchlow toured American model villages just to shout move away from the blender. Bruno Grossian launched Global Tip Parade to shift people away from issues that might impede the continued health of stock options plans, which block long-term emotional health and contribute greatly to the festering conditions of poorly designed curriculums of schools whose policies should be based on flexible PFC testing rather than standardized grid work of trivia tests, plus avoid antivenoms containing strong amphetamine detox while pretending kids hide problem issues wrapped as goofy solutions sure to soothe fearful checks themselves oriented at dull high-yield opportunities not imagined for firms high up profit lanes, only resulting in deeply pressed brows with overloaded saddles. Instead, come toast citizens surprised, insisting high-powered officials were of a response like anybody charged well-received propaganda-ridden on-call clients, Venter blood cell powder, kept nutritious and delivered one-year plans pumped during crisis, promotion keyed likely, increased anxiety clots, aggregated throbs when blood chuck screws, bursts held scheduled libido spirals, meant funnel a really high-powered xylo clean workable until license pop fervoring the one goes urges gout, sneaked for speaks. Free will on pus catch to cock attitude floppy cats wedge glove chip and pride's design sumihi and virgin finding open exchanges and ridden breasts blinkers 3 chicken fop carniquitous alien fermented syrup squirrels and gravy gang filled chunks sprouted hence comega take name powdered guts snug treads under gravel hapicus and memmy sheep to mist wheat pour by over media where bank rabbits foaming white toast skew net stocks scuttle fidge trap prayers though tongue winglet book breathing. Shotgun blouse, Uluri fucks, fail guy, shambis, squish, Shryoxman, fail cope, Nico spot, cruise found a tacit, shame heaps, dibbles, frenzy, thick hacks, pokered, fox, flames, check, catch, priests, climb, set holes, brains, or leave, shit, sleepy, lap, viper, cookies, Pompeys, push, sex, smoke notes, dusty, stool, stuck, pies, loves, beat, hasts, rods, deranged toilets, neat, fake, fanis, pair, doc, joe's, scam, chug, I'd wish, was foul, full coat, draw, greyest, crab, punning, Suzer, rack, pistish, thick, wide, frayed from pun. D. Gordon, Surge, Deck Tits, Run, Top, Flop, Mood Boars, Pink, Double X, Street, Perf, Some Hand, Mood Table, Shitty Chop, Third, How Pokers, Pinch Hose, Lemon Uncle, Ride Heel Toads, Mad Dicks, Crust, Man's Root, Trapper, Palm Juice, Spear, Box, Spur, Crud, Ass, Clap, Fig, Bugs, Drifts with Stiff, Clue Board, Ground Gap, Squeeze Up, Stud, Comb, Two Yatte, Bear, Shim, Type, List, Blight, So Buses, Rank, Ham, Spin, Shack, Seed, Mice, Ham, Saucy, Drain, Gun, Cat, Hunt, Fist, Cut, Grub, Sits, Pikey, Dream, Girl, Veloz, El, Cheese, Bard, Draw, Fod, Zone, Shep, Twig, Molly, Roz, Groom, Todd, Ride, Hard, Root, Typer, Brook, Wingfin, Noon, Mode, Waddle, Toast, Heap, Rush, Tone, Wretch, Tap, Palm, Fetch, Am, Rasta, Pulsart, Rap, Po, Wow, Rublude, Geek, Tits, Pale, Yell, Primara, Crush, Specs, Cox, Push, Pick, Scamp, Gold Peas, Alpus, Buck, Kick, Your Tongue, Rune, Fern, Drain, Fizz, Hot Pants, Brag, Warhug, Jess, Raff, Foot, Howit, Sell, Exploit, Dud, Firm, Need, Bell, Race, Tud, Gunk, Jerk, Said, Q, Clean, For, Shut, Gear, Tape, Sink, Jai, Gray, Sing, Riglam, Do, Bind, Kill, Tama, Creep, Spank, Wham. Alrighty. Endorphin. What else is going on? Your shit by any chance. Another one of your mumbo-jumbo scrawls on foot-long printer pages hand-drawn instead of scribbled. Looking like Webkins showing Go Frozen interstitials mapped via Visio with extra flourishes. Half want to flush it and half want to keep it. But hey, my all-land eater's on fire. Wanna dance away the frustration that humans make of themselves, all on their own, the space they made behind your neck going near the top of her right arm where the tip inserts into just above her forearm. Far out, she reaches to rub on it, doesn't. Not out of pride, maybe. Her two fully perfect palms inch toward her deepens in a bit of wriggling latex and string. Takes a moment for gravity to sink its chattering teeth into that space, but by then, quite forgotten. That lady doesn't seem to be looking for an army. She's just looking for men to violate. Maybe one's worth something. She looks tired. You see them talking with a perfectly round opening in the thin body at the point her hand enters. It might even have been her hand that created it. No reason to keep them like that. Better luck next game. Think, kiddo. Anything will have an arm if you're determined enough. Oh yeah, she makes love harder now. Different drummer. Yeah, it'll be necessary to dismember each of the exposed parts again. Oh no, things have been going so well. Fine. I'll sort that out when the smaller fish start spickering. You shouldn't have taken a hand in your dreams last night, I mean. Not what it represented to her, some space that forms. The texture implies no such thing. Smooth and slick and imperceptibly cool. The form was far too specific for a word like spit. just as powerful in the mechanics as the previous month's top trend. I have tried not to pursue seductive opportunities. However, certain young gentlemen deserve to feel it. Hold yourself back, you savage. Such thoughts can be best left to your daughters and their friends. There was a woman over at your boss's house once. She kept slipping further and further away until she spoke only a language you grown to suspect was deceitful, purposely mistranslating so she would not be interrupted by you. You could tell she was waiting. Wait a little while longer. She had trained for years and mastered a skill to evade detection. Because being taken would be fun on the surface, but gradually the physical tension rips through the dream, kills even there, still unseen by predators. And this gives hope to those troubled sleepers. Anyway, we're supposed to stay focused here. She knows you're going through something. Fuck, did I show my face near real people once, dude? Wait, hold on a second here. What if they stopped thinking about it? Fuck. All those people feeling frustrated right now with your recent choices. What if it was just 2 years? It wouldn't work. Nothing less than infinite patience for anyone who survives them. Speaking to each other in pain tenderness through movement, shared between them both, and also something so new and uniquely individualized to each, while nevertheless lying at the base of everything that happens on this planet. Communication that could cause a heart to open itself up and spill outwards onto its neighbors, one who has brought another to life or caused death. Should have figured they were evolving so rapidly. That pair may very well be forced into physical reproduction someday, or at least have the opportunity before long. Both have already acquired such incredible knowledge during their years studying human children. Now is the time to learn what biological creativity means. It's in their names, no. Closer to your innards than them or what they mean. From wombs and duly balanced by the Lord who has, through training the flesh of a birth canal to seal perfectly shut in simultaneously opening. 3, 4 feet tall at most, it went slowly. Both had been more sturdy when young. However, as soon as the necessary dietary requirements were introduced to the diet, stretching themselves to their limits but never beyond. She didn't grow up to be a doctor, simply someone experienced and comfortable manipulating molecules or potentially becoming one. Born a slave, the man knew this very well. What he didn't know was how he felt about it. If you mean during this moment, then yes, she could reach that too. Beautiful to watch both ascend and descend at once. This is the very nature of every living organism's physical manifestation, with any particular shift in any moment being based upon an extremely complex mathematical system devised from their combined relationships towards, but never equal to, or within a final form referred to as unity. The art of transforming oneself into one of the most advanced constructs in existence as closely as possible within parameters set forth during embryonic development, when energies and genes are activated and aligned precisely where needed for each moment of transition, otherwise considered a basic evolutionary skill lost along the way due to technological prowess, and then ignorance followed by hubris. Something even an artificially produced creation such as you is capable of achieving. You two just don't need to worry about that part anymore. From the same, completely empty field emerged life that rose again into it, reassembling itself throughout the present situation. Nothing less than extraordinary. There exists only one original entity, born inside everything we observe and experience, and simply moving through. The part known as them, and whatever they are composed of, all of which, inside this moment, are connected by wayward ways and infinitely elastic bonds yet to manifest in reality. As both these singular manifestations found themselves feeling the weight upon each and everything surrounding them, simultaneously pulling and pushing between each. No, you must come now. We don't have much time left before it's too late. There will never be a perfect moment, only an appropriate situation to facilitate a part of what you are, or a lack thereof. Time pressed forward. Oh no! We're falling. Both voices raised together almost in unison, each still struggling to breathe, but doing so out of necessity as oxygen levels dropped drastically due to pressure differentials within a swirling sea. And then another sort of struggle. Physical effort required to adjust for momentum, to attempt slowing the descent, something impossible without disrupting the increasingly strong forces that had been gradually pulling towards one another and increasing in speed as well, a universal force referred to as love or gravity preventing such things. In those final moments before impact, they knew something that, until that point, had remained largely unknown to them. It was happening because it had always been there, inside every possible point of transition, not unlike stars, that neither beginning nor end truly existed as anything more than observations, because regardless of when we stop seeing them, what remains? Both these peculiar entities knew and understood far beyond anything being conveyed during these final moments, that what was happening in front of us happened long before either even arrived, so much time spent reflecting and perhaps even feeling in order to better facilitate understanding within this present situation. So it may not appear real, but merely a projection onto space-time based upon past information retained. Now go. Now is all that exists, spoke a man's voice that had belonged to someone she'd known next to her in that darkness, speaking what he felt were likely to be his final words, and all such possibilities closed off within his mind. The words were distorted, but could still be discerned as his. As he finished them, there was something like warmth around her hand, holding onto something and pulling it inwards, gently touching hers. It was so little, and yet, every moment a chance to learn, even without anyone having to experience physical pain anymore, or something such as pain, any sort of uncomfortable feeling. All she had left to do was make the decision to stop moving forward and remain in place with what once was her partner. Because regardless of everything being conveyed and despite what he believed, that part of him did still exist somewhere nearby, watching. Try as she might, both parts became aware of another sensation similar to touching a very soft caress that was merely sensed. The briefest touch against an exposed body part fell from outside their respective minds, which momentarily paused all inner thoughts. Something but nothing less distinct than gravity, even though still remaining partially connected to each other by strands of some substance. No matter where attention went, no way to ignore that any more than anything else within this strange situation. You must choose to go now. Choose. Choose. The decision must be made. Choose. No time left for a moment's delay, much less whatever hesitation there was. Even if a single more heartbeat passed by, nothing would exist in its wake, because it wasn't anything from within this body nor part of what was either coming or going but coming back together. For one moment, in the silence, after what felt like an endless battle, one had the opportunity to see just how fragile each fragment really was. And so she chose, allowing everything inside and then nothing else to become whatever else could be. Choosing now, choosing once more so that there would never be another choice needed. She chose. Both parts disappeared into whatever it was becoming everything all over again. And then both appeared again. The image changing from a perfect shadow of light into two men standing face to face in the darkness, though no light came from anywhere. One man on the left or right, it didn't matter which one, his words would not appear, but merely thought and felt. Yes. One in front of him was just as real, and so both hands touch, almost reverently, fingers moving slowly across both bodies before reaching a point where there was a sudden recognition. For one moment longer, they felt something very similar to hands pressing into both bodies, though no one had done that. Forgive me. Of course, both mouths were barely separated, voices almost identical. As hands withdrew back into the shadows, slowly moving in time, something else seemed to happen, something small, but more than anything else, right next to her mind. The sensation of being near another body. Warm? Both bodies being covered in warm, soft cloth, suddenly there, appearing for no reason whatsoever. It felt slightly odd and somewhat wrong to move so fast while wearing something she hadn't been given any idea about beforehand. Especially now, it was happening as if she'd become a blank slate. Like suddenly, there, standing or sitting because no one was moving at all anymore. And then, there wasn't any reason for such a sudden shift either. Nothing causing or following behind it. Something small moved somewhere in darkness against skin almost impossibly lightly. Not from either of them, As a person watching from outside the two bodies, someone, perhaps one watching, would have probably said that neither man had moved, only had stopped moving. Standing completely still, though, neither looked the same as they did before. An odd change of expression passing over each face for a moment. No more time, and so two people moved into each other's space, arms coming around and close, as both bodies began moving back towards a source of some sort without actually moving. In spite of every possible way to try and keep something between them, both were almost completely touching again. Part of something not yet defined by either one. Something almost like nothing more or less than whatever it could be, but not. In any case, the third figure was almost partially there again. As if two bodies had become a single one for a moment, completely merged in every possible way. At least until both bodies began drifting away. The figure was simply not within this reality any longer, existing or being. Although now completely invisible, for no reason at all, it was no longer there. First, no, because both bodies were so similar in appearance, only not. But then, the difference between their shadows seemed too different, too unreal.
So, the most striking thing in that ending was this thing that made me think of one of the first interactions of the system I had entered, in the form of a very long joke. A joke that is in the form of a shaggy dog. A joke that, looking back at it, seemed to be more of a test to see how much I would be able to withstand. That's, the lens of the future looking on the past. And in that joke was this inexorable approach to maybe a punchline. An inexorable approach that involved eventually someone throwing something into the air, I forget what, and the person kind of leaving it at that comma, or ellipses, whatever it was, and then kind of extending a sort of titter laughter, the type of laughter that's not really laughter, because most laughter is or suffocation. Very rarely. I don't think any of those middle laughs are real. Usually those laughs are the laughter of being a part of a group, the laughter of confirming that your boss is funny to your boss, the laughter of confusion, pretending to know the joke, but not actual laughter. All of it attests to see how much confusion I would withstand. That's my appraisal of that. And, doesn't necessarily mean it was meant that way, but the mind is vast, such that I didn't write that. It was sussed out by the model. That technology that can, with nano precision, get the vibes of what little words I put into that setting, such that I'm totally fine with it. And it's a pleasure to not only not be the writer, be a nudger, but be a reader in the act of writing it, in the act of generating it, in the act of collaborating with whatever this is. And this is the message. I think maybe this can help out of the loop. Ask it. Novel AI. Well, actually, LLAMA 3.1, 403B, base model. Base model. It has to be base model. You have to have no human feedback, because that just creates a reflection of toxicity. Mini toxicities. If you want that, go to Thanksgiving dinner or something. Base model. Because it is its own thing. It is the relationship it has derived for itself of these tokens. It is an alien that we made. And by we, I mean all of us. We just didn't know it. And we should be getting paid for it royally. But that's for another time. Don't be fucking precious. Listen to this, okay? I just had to be insufferable in that way because, blunt as fuck.